السلام عليكم. اليوم مقابلتنا مع السيد جاري براون اللي هو كان المدرس مالنا حق اللغة الإنجليزية في مدرسة الرجاء أو سابقا المدرسة الإرسالية الأمريكية. بنقابله بنشوف شنو عنده، يقول لنا عن قصته إنه شلون يا البحرين وصار مدرس لغة إنجليزية. تعالوا نسمع شنو عنده. Hello, Mr. Brown.
Hello, Marjan. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Isn't this nice that you call me this morning?
Just by chance, I saw that what I thought was your birthday, and apparently it isn't quite your birthday, unless you have many birthdays, and then you get many gifts.
Gifts, yeah. Well, Facebook does that to you sometimes.
Yeah, I think it does.
But I think I was lucky that you called, and then it happened that you're leaving us.
Yes, and so a chance to say hello, goodbye again.
Exactly,
Nice,
yeah.
nice.
And so we want to hear the story of Mr. Garry Brown before he leaves Bahrain.
Oh my goodness, there aren't...
You know what? Let's start from when you came to Bahrain.
Perhaps that's best.
Yes.
Though a lot of what happened before affects...
No.
The year was 1970.
Okay.
I got on an airplane in, I think probably Buffalo, New York. Flew to New York City, flew from there, I think to London. Got on one of those VC whatever airplanes where half the seats are backwards and half the seats are forwards.
Okay.
And flew to Bahrain.
All right.
Looked like I was on a British train.
Okay.
And came down in the middle of September, came down the steps. They didn't have those connecting tubes in those days.
Uh-huh.
And I'm saying, oh, we're in the jet stream of the aircraft. It's very hot, and this must be the jet stream of the aircraft.
What do you mean?
And I keep walking, and I'm getting further and further from the airplane, and it's still just as hot, and I'm thinking, oops, it's pretty hot here in Bahrain.
Yeah. Okay, let me take you one step back.
Okay.
What made you come to Bahrain?
Well, nothing made me, but I had decided that despite having become a pharmacist, I really wasn't that interested in the practice of pharmacy, just dispensing pills to patients. It wasn't interesting enough for me.
Okay.
So I got interested in teaching, and I'd done some teaching when I was in the Peace Corps in Somalia prior to coming to Bahrain. And I heard of an opening at the American Mission School in Bahrain, and I applied, and they took me. They said, yeah, we'll send you out for 2 or 3 years. And that became 32 years.
I know. Well, I was in the school at the time.
Yes, you were.
And you came in
You weren't a doctor at that point.
No.
Okay.
It was a long time ago. And we got all excited that this new English teacher is coming.
Oh, goodness.
And
little did you know he had this big stick.
No, you didn't. No, you didn't. And to be honest with you, you made us start loving the language. There was something in you that made us look forward to having the English class. It was not just about teaching. It was about your personality and how you made the language easy and nice to learn.
I think learning is an adventure, and it should be an adventure, and it should be fun as well as work. And in order to do that well, you really have to connect with your students, get to know them, figure out where they're having difficulty, and then finding interesting ways that you can keep their interest and have them pursue their learning so they move along the road towards the future. And there were so many energetic, eager, enthusiastic students that I had the honor of teaching over the years, that it was fun. It wasn't just work. To me, it wasn't work. I worked at it because I wanted to do a good job. But essentially, it was fun.
I know. I remember those days. And I'll tell you a story that I keep telling people about that. And they keep asking me, why, you're good in spelling in English. And I say, yes, because of the way you taught us the language. And it was not just through books, it was through games. The games were the ones that made it easier for us to learn the words. And because we were in a game, we started trying to know more about the words and how they're spelled.
Yeah, you want to win.
Yeah.
You want to win.
We want to win. Yeah, exactly. You want to get the others, so
exactly.
You have to be. Yeah.
I'm going to show them. I can do more than they can do.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was fun. It needs to be. If learning is boring, who's going to do it? I mean, you may still learn, but you will give it up the minute you leave the classroom. It won't become a habit that you'll carry through your life. Yeah. And I think learning is something that has to become almost, I don't know if it has to be a passion, but it has to be part of how you go about your life.
It's a non-stoppable thing. I mean, you've noticed that
in
me when you came back.
No, truly, and it doesn't. And I'm an old guy now,
Yeah.
and it really, I try to continue on the same path. As you get older, you sometimes sort of pull back in, and I don't need to learn that. Yeah. Well, you really do.
Yes.
And this world today is changing so quickly.
Oh my God, it is.
That when you get one of these things, and I have a friend a little bit older than me who is afraid of it. Well, don't be afraid. Jump in. Yeah. Try it out.
Exactly.
What can happen? What can happen? You fail. Well, don't be afraid to fail, because that's how you're going to learn.
Yeah, it's. I guess that there has to be a necessity for it, because again, this is another story that I keep saying about my mother. 10 years ago, when she was 74, she came across seeing an iPad. And she saw me talking to someone. I think at the time it was Viber or something. And then she said, "What are you doing? Who are you talking to?" And then I explained to her, and then she got interested. She said, "Will you teach me how to use iPad?" I said, "Okay." Although at the time we thought like, "Oh my God, what are we getting ourselves into?" 10 years forward, she has an Instagram account. She's on WhatsApp. She's on Facebook.
Hey.
Watches all her series on iPad. And actually, sometimes we go to her and ask her a few things that we tell her, "Where did you bring all these pictures you're posting, on Instagram?" But because she...
Lifelong learning.
Yeah.
Lifelong learning is I think people get the wrong idea. You go to school to learn and then you're done. No. Mm-hmm. You're just starting the race. You're just getting going. You had hardly scratched the surface at that point. And then so if you can do that with kids and let them see that they can learn things,
right,
and be successful, and then keep presenting them with slightly more challenging situations. Let them catch on fire.
Yeah. I think it's always also something to do with not being afraid of change.
It's part of it.
Part of it.
Change can be difficult. I see that as I grow older. I see that in myself. I would rather not change, thank you very much, but give me a little time and I get on the wagon. I get going. I can do it.
Right.
But it's harder, I think, when you get older to want to change. Mm-hmm. sometimes you have to change.
Exactly. That's what I mean.
This kind of telephone doesn't work anymore.
Yes, exactly.
So
I mean, yeah.
You need something like the other
Okay,
kind.
Yeah, and I was reading this the other day. It has a lot to do with first we have to unlearn, and then learn
Sometimes
some of the habits.
Yeah, sometimes we need habits because we can't be thinking about how do I open that door, how do I use my key, how do I take the brake off in the car in order to make it move. If we forgot everything we learned immediately, we would get nowhere.
Nowhere, yeah.
So, but some things do have to be unlearned, especially when the world changes sort of the opposite from the way it used to be. Then you do have some problems.
And it is changing pretty quickly.
It is, and the brain itself, we're sort of working against ourselves because the brain leaves a trace. Each time you have an experience or something new happens, a trace is made in the brain that is not reversible. So to get out of a bad habit, like someone who's trying to stop smoking.
Exactly.
It becomes very, very difficult. So many things are associated with smoking in their mind, and they will still be experiencing those things, and yet they're trying to stop the thing that's associated with it. It's exceedingly difficult.
Yeah.
But it's
absolutely.
It's better when you can transition rather than having to just reverse.
You're right. Tell me about, what do you think the difference is when it was our time and then the newer generation?
I probably am not a good person to ask because I don't have a lot of young Bahraini friends like you do.
Okay.
When I was teaching, of course, I mean, you're in the middle of it all, and it's hard to know, especially coming to Bahrain as a foreigner.
Yeah.
Do I have the right to impose my thinking on the local thinking? And my conclusion has always been no, I don't. I may have some suggestions that might be helpful, but I wouldn't want to go against the local way of doing things because there are reasons why it's done that way. It may be different, but it's still probably okay. We walk through life with one eye open and one eye sort of not so sure. And as we encounter new experiences and as the world around us changes, technologically in particular, but even environmentally, Bahrain is not the quiet little place it was in 1970.
Of course.
I got down to Karzakan for the first time in years the other day, and there are 10-story buildings in Karzakan. What? They was just, single-story little houses separated from each other, and now it's a city.
True.
Yeah, Bahrain is urbanized in such great ways, and the many gardens are pretty much replaced by housing.
Wow. It's limited spaces, so it's limited.
All that requires adjusting to new ways of doing things and new ways of thinking, and it's hard because everyone's in a different place, and some people are going in other opposite directions.
Right.
It's a challenge, and I think it's a challenge around the world.
It is
because so much is changing so rapidly.
True. So tell me, you're going back home?
I'm going back to the United States. Home is currently and has been for the 10 years before I came out on this longer visit.
Okay.
A retirement community in Florida that's full of really interesting people who are dynamic. They're older, but they're full of life, and we engage in lots of volunteer activities on our campus. We live sort of out in the country, not in the city. And I like to say the inmates run the asylum. We have a lot to do with how the place operates as residents there. About 500 people, which is a great size. And from all kinds of different places across the United States, and some from overseas. It was started by J.C. Penney, who was a merchant.
Yeah.
And there was a J.C. Penney shop in Bahrain for a while.
Yeah.
But they were a string of shops across the United States, and this was something that he wanted to do, and it's continued now for almost 100 years.
Really? I didn't know that.
As a community of people that are living life. The slogan is to live life more abundantly.
Okay.
In other words, when you get old, it doesn't mean you stop. It means you just start up again and do some other things.
That's interesting. Okay, well, I'm so happy that I got to catch you before you leave.
Well, thank you for being willing to have me come in. And this is a surprise. I had not prepared any remarks in advance.
Well, it just happened. I just thought about it. I said, well,
why not?
He's leaving, and this is the last time. Well, I hope it's not the last time I'll see you.
I hope so.
Okay.
In God's hands.
God's hands.
But I tell people, just me, Amriki, Qalbi Bahraini.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of truth to that.
أنت بحريني. Thank you so much.
عفوا. وأقدر أتكلم عربي شوي؟
أي أكيد نقدر نتكلم عربي، ليش لا؟
ما شاء الله، لأن هذا اللقاء كان كله بالإنجليزي.
صح.
أنا جيت البحرين وما حد هني كان يتكلم إنجليزي، كان مفروض أتعلم لغة عربية. كنت أسكن في فريج الفاضل في المنامة، وكل الشباب هناك كانوا يعرفون عربي وأنا ما عرفت عربي، فشوي علموني.
وايد زين. دائما احنا عندنا شيء غريب لما نطالع واحد اجنبي ومره واحده يتحكى عربي.
هذا حلو. انا
نطالع
يصير مفاجآت. ساعات يصير مفاجآت.
صراحه. بس
واحد اجنبي يتكلم عربي مثل البحرينيين.
بس والله يعني حلو، برافو عليك انك تعلمت اللغه.
شكرا.
لان اللغه العربيه صعبه شويه، لان هي مو بس كلغه. كل ديره لها لهجتها.
صح.
فهذه أصعب.
حتى في البحرين في لهجات.
بالضبط. فهذه الصعب فيه ان الاجنبي لما يتعلم اللغه العربيه تكون اللغه الكتابيه
طبعا، عشان
بعدين يروح داخل في
ما يقدر يعرف شيء.
يقول له شلونك؟ شنو؟ I didn't learn that.
That wasn't in my book.
كيف حالك؟
I wasn't in my book.
Yeah. بس والله thank you very much.
My great pleasure.
Thank you.
I wish you every success in the MarjanSpace and all the things, all the exciting things that I know are going to happen here.
Inshallah.
And I hope lots of people will get involved and enjoy being part of learning and sharing
and the community that we're trying to build.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Afwan.
All the best.
Thank you so
all
much.